I'm Stacy Lyn. Today I'm going to be making fried cornbread, also known as hot water cornbread. I don't know anyone else besides my grandmother who continues to make this awesome cornbread. In Grady, Alabama, there's a restaurant that serves cornbread that comes close to it, but it's not quite as good as my granny's recipe. Every time that I make southern fried cornbread, I'm filled with the best memories. As long as I can remember, my granny has cooked this perfect cornbread to accompany my favorite meals of soup, deviled eggs, potato salad, and fried corn. I know the food was good, but I often wonder if it was just my granny that was so incredible. She taught me how to make so many recipes that I make now. My children seem to love them so much, just like I used to do, so I'm thinking that she really was that great of a cook. I love that she used the freshest local ingredients before it was the thing to do. She knew that fresh equaled quality. The thing I love about my granny, besides her food, was that she thought I could do no wrong. Who wouldn't love that? I hope you enjoyed this crunch on the outside and the moist on the inside fried cornbread as much as I do. This side pairs perfectly with venison soup, hoppin' john, chili con carne. There are a few hints to this recipe. 1, you must use self-rising cornmeal, fresh. It has to be fresh. If it's not, it will end up not rising and you will end up with a dense cornbread. 2, after you pour the boiling water in the cornmeal, you must cook it right away in hot grease. If the grease is not hot, the cornmeal is just going to soak up the oil and it's going to be greasy instead of this lusciously crunchy on the outside, tender on the inside kind of meal. 3, the meal mixture should be the consistency of a cake batter, not too loose and not too thick. Once you get the hang of this, well, you know the rest. So I'm going to put a little bit of salt in my self-rising cornmeal. It's already got a little salt in it, so I'm adding about a tablespoon to it, but it really does help the flavor. Okay, I've been boiling water, so now all I have to do is to bring that boiling water right over here and pour it straight into my pots of cornmeal and salt. Okay. I don't know what it is about this that works, but I am telling you, it works. So my granny knew what she was doing, and that's the first thing I reached for when I would go over to her house. Okay, so here we go. So I'm gonna drop a spoonful right down into this grease. Now what I have here is oil, vegetable oil, or Crisco, or I also use bacon grease. You can do just about anything you want to. And I have a little bit of butter for flavor. But since if you put bacon grease in it, you're not gonna need any butter for flavor. Okay, and I'm just putting big old, depending on how big you want them or how small you want them, I'm just putting them in here. You don't want to get them too close together because they'll start steaming and be really nasty. And you want to get nice crisp edges on the outside. And when that starts turning dark brown, you're going to need to turn it over and go to the other side. This is a great recipe for chili. It's better than any kind of cornbread that I've ever had in my life. I love cornbread, but this is it's just outrageous. So homemade soups with this by itself. I've even seen some people put syrup over it and have it for breakfast. So it's just cornmeal and hot water, and it is so good. Okay, it's getting that nice golden outside, and it's going to be so tender and wonderful on the inside. Once you flip it, you need to try not to move it, because if you do, it'll just move all of the cornmeal mixture on the bottom of the pan, and you don't want that. So keep it there for a good little while. The first batch is always kind of like a batch of pancakes. They kind of don't turn out exactly the way you want them, but the rest of them, they'll turn out just fine. So just keep going. All right, these look done. They look marvelous. Wow. You flatten these out to about the size of a hamburger patty, the thickness of a hamburger patty and the size of a hamburger patty. And one thing that would be really great, a friend of mine, it's another blogger friend of mine, and you can visit her website. It's southernsoul.com. And she mentioned pairing this cornbread with her pork roast. And I thought that was a really good idea, and you could serve those as little appetizers. I think that is like a great idea. So we may have that up on the blog pretty soon. So StacyLynHarris.com and SouthernSoul.com, and merge the two, and you're going to find something really extraordinary. We'll probably come up with a couple of other things too. That'll be great. I'm putting just a little grease in the middle of that one. It didn't seem to get as hot as the rest of it. So you can kind of manipulate this the way you want to. Yum. All right. So when I would go over to my grandmother's house, she would have like pots so small, because you know it was just her and my dad, you know, forever. And so she would have these like pots like smaller than that, and it would be like, one would be peas and one would be green beans, and then she'd have a little bowl about that big of potato salad. And so it was like she was just feeding two. But she could have written one of those books, you know, just dining for two or table for two, or you know, something like that. She had it down pat doing that. When we all came along, and I brought, you know, kept having more and more kids, and we'd go 7 people over there, and her house was like, it was 2 bedrooms, a bathroom, and a little bitty den, and a little bitty kitchen. And it would be so hot because she just had a window unit in her house, but nobody seemed to care. And then she still had my toys, and so they would go and get all of my toys out and play with the toys while, you know, she was in the kitchen cooking for us. Those are some really, really, really good memories. I'm Stacy Lyn, and that's how you make my granny's fried cornbread. For more information, check out my website, StacyLynHarris.com.